Thank you very much indeed. And let's talk now to Ed Balls. And you heard a number of concerns there from Peter Hain. The most important, I suppose, being this idea that if you take away, may not mean very much money to these wealthier pensioners, but it will undermine the principle of the welfare state. They feel they're getting nothing back.
I think Peter makes an important point about the role universal benefits play in our welfare state. And there's a balance to be struck. On the economy, do you strike the right balance between growth and deficit reduction? I think George Osborne's got that wrong. In the welfare state, where do you strike the balance between support for all and targeted support? But you can't strike the balance in the same place every year in every generation. And I think we have to accept, with the economy doing badly, with the deficit high, the inheritance we're going to get be very, very tough indeed. We'll have to strike the balance in a different way. So I say for pensioners, the universal pension, absolutely, it's integral to the welfare state for all. I actually think that free prescription charges, free bus travel, reflecting the mobility needs of all pensioners, that's important. They're universal. But the winter allowance, which was always a discretionary payment about fuel poverty, we could afford to pay that to all pensioners 15 years ago. In straitened times, I don't think we can. And £100 million is not to be sneered at.
But you are moving away from this principle, aren't you? And the fear will be for many...
We're striking the balance in a different way.
Well, no, but you say striking the balance. It's moving away from the universal principle. And won't a number of pensioners think, well, blimey, if they're saying this in opposition, what would they actually do in government? They're going to come for free TV licences, bus passes and a whole load of other benefits.
Well, I'm saying that to safeguard this for 95% of pensioners on middle and low incomes who will keep it, we will have to take it away for 5% of pensioners with pension incomes over £42,000. I think that is fair and justified. And it is the kind of choice the next Labour government is going to have to make.
So addressing the slippery slope argument, sure. Are you prepared to guarantee the other benefits for pensioners, that you'll keep those as universal benefits?
Well, I've just said, I think the universal pension, prescription charges, I believe free bus travel.
Free bus travel, yes, you'll keep that definitely.
Yes, I think, look, to be honest.
And free TV licences as well.
Free TV licences is a complex one because the reality is it's not clear why winter allowance and the free TV licence are any different. On the other hand, the free TV licence is only over 75s. And frankly, the administrative cost of trying to remove it from high-income pensioners would be so great that it's just not worth the candle.
So you'd like to, but it's not worth it.
I think it's not worth the candle.
In itself, this is a very small change, isn't it? £100 million, in the grand scheme of things, is not very much money, is it?
Well,
when you look at the scale of government budgets.
Any listener listening to your programme thinking a aspirant Chancellor says £100 million is not very much money, they'd think, hang on a sec, that sounds like a rather lot of money.
When you're looking at structural deficit,
look after the pennies and the pounds
billion,
take care of themselves.
Talking about a deficit of £120 billion. I mean, in public finance terms, this is an accounting error, isn't it?
Well, I actually was involved in very many budgets, and £100 million is a significant amount of money. But the broader point you're making is this the be-all and the end-all of the difficult choices the next Labour government will have to make? Absolutely not. I was making two arguments today. First of all, if the government acts now on growth, to get the economy moving, to get tax revenues coming in, a boost to housing this year as the IMF has proposed, that would make the position so much better for 2015-16. But we have to plan on the basis that they're going to carry on with an irresponsible austerity economics. So the issue is what we inherit.
So cutting through the anti-government rhetoric, does that mean that you would keep to government spending plans for 2015-16?
What I've done today is set out a very clear direction of travel. I'm not going to write a budget in advance of our manifesto 2 years ahead. I think that would be irresponsible.
Just in broad terms.
But what I'm saying is, on capital spending, we think a capital boost is the right thing now. I'm not going to preempt our manifesto in 2015-16, but we'll look at the capital spending needs depending upon the economy and the needs of investment in 2015-16. Okay. As for current spending, which is most departmental spending, there I'm saying very clearly to my shadow cabinet colleagues, don't plan on any more money. We'll inherit very tough plans. We'll have to work with those plans and reprioritise within them. That'll be very hard.
That's clear.
But that's where we are.
And then on the question of one of your very big spending commitments, which your policy at the moment is for this £12 billion on a VAT cut, it sounded today as if you were moving away from that commitment.
Well, it was the right thing to do 2 years ago and 1 year ago. I think it's the right thing to do today because we need an immediate impact. If you did the VAT change now, it could be effective by 6 o'clock this evening. But I said in the speech today, today that as the economy begins, even the most weak way, the balance of advantage will change over the course of this year from a tax cut to capital investment. And if the government announced now they would go down the IMF road, a £10 billion capital boost, they would get no money actually into the economy until the back end
Does
of
sound
this
like
year.
there's a lot of U-turns going on in Labour policy.
No, I don't think so at all. I think that the nature of
Away from winter fuel
the
allowance,
nature
away
of-
from VAT
No,
cuts.
look. The reason why I'm not making commitments for 2 years ahead is because the circumstances change. We're going to have a weak recovery. We're going to have people's living standards falling, investment lacking, the deficit not coming down. What is the right prescription? A growth plan, long-term reform, and tough decisions on the deficit. That's what Labour will offer.
Ed Balls, many thanks indeed for joining
Thank you,
us.
Martha.